Somewhere in your closet right now, there's probably a small cardboard box or a velvet pouch nobody has opened in years. Inside it, tangled together, are a few pieces of old costume jewelry that everyone in the family agreed a long time ago were not worth much. Here's the problem with that agreement. Nobody ever checked. Today we are counting down 10 vintage jewelry brands that collectors are quietly chasing right now. Brands that look exactly like the kind of thing you would toss into a donation bag without a second thought, and brands that have sold for hundreds, thousands, and in a few cases, well past 5 figures. Stay to the end because the name at number 1 is sitting in more households than any other brand on this list, and almost nobody checks the one detail that actually decides what it is worth. Number 10, Napier. Napier is the brand everyone owns and almost nobody respects. For most of the 20th century, it was the largest costume jewelry manufacturer in America, which means it flooded department stores for decades, and that flood is exactly why people assume none of it is worth anything. Most Napier pieces genuinely are not. A plain gold-tone chain from the 1970s will bring you a few dollars and nothing more. But Napier's earlier work, the pieces from the 1930s through the 1950s, marked simply Napier in block letters, used genuine sterling silver during the wartime years, and design work that rivaled brands charging 5 times as much. A sterling Napier bracelet from the 1940s with a rare enamel finish sold for just under $600. A boxed Napier figural set from the same era brought over $900. The tell is the mark and the metal. Look for the word sterling stamped alongside the Napier name, and look for weight in your hand, because the wartime pieces feel substantial in a way the later mass production never does. People walk past Napier at every single estate sale in the country because the name feels too common to matter. That familiarity is exactly the cover the good pieces are hiding behind. Number 9, Monet. Monet built its entire reputation on one idea, that costume jewelry did not have to look like an apology for real jewelry. The finish work is what separates it from the pack. Heavy gold plating, smooth polished surfaces, clasps that were engineered properly instead of stamped out cheaply, and that attention shows the moment you pick a piece up. Most Monet jewelry from the 1970s and 80s sells modestly, somewhere in the $20 to $60 range, which is exactly why people assume the brand has a ceiling. It does not. Monet's early pieces from the 1940s, back when the company was still called Monocraft, carry an entirely different reputation among collectors who know to look for that original name stamped on the back. A Monocraft brooch in excellent condition has sold for over $700. The company also produced limited runs for other fashion houses that were never publicly credited, and those unmarked collaborations occasionally surface at estate sales completely unrecognized. If you find a piece stamped Monocraft instead of Monet, do not treat it like the common stuff sitting next to it. You are holding an earlier and considerably rarer version of a name everyone assumes they already understand. Number 8. Coro and the Coro Duetti. Coro made an almost unbelievable volume of jewelry across the 20th century, which means the vast majority of it sells for $5 to $15 and deserves to. That volume is precisely why people stop paying attention the second they see the name on the back. But buried inside that flood is the duet, 2 separate dress clips mounted on a single frame so they could be worn apart or snapped together into one large brooch, a small mechanical marvel that Coro patented and refined for years. The famous Coro duet pieces, designed with a Carmen Miranda-inspired flourish, have sold for just over $1,800, even in pieces with visibly darkened rhinestones. Coro also produced an upgraded line under the name Vendome, a name that sounds fancier than Coro precisely because it was meant to be the premium tier, and pieces marked Vendome instead of Coro routinely outsell their plainer siblings by a wide margin. The rule with this brand is simple. The bows and florals that show up in every single antique mall booth in the country are nearly worthless. The duets in the Vendome line are a completely different conversation. and the only way to know which one you are holding is to turn it over and actually read the mark. Number 7. Weiss. Albert Weiss opened his company in 1942, spent 3 decades selling rhinestone jewelry through American department stores, and closed the doors for good in 1971, which means every single genuine Weiss piece in existence today is more than 50 years old, and the company never produced a single reproduction after that closure. The stones are the whole story here. Weiss used fine Austrian crystal set with a clarity and precision that collectors consistently rate above plenty of fancier-sounding brands, and that quality is the entire reason the pieces have held their value decade after decade. A complete signed Weiss parure, meaning a matching necklace, bracelet, and earring set, regularly brings $500 to over $1,000 at auction. The Aurora Borealis pieces, that iridescent rainbow coating developed with Dior in the mid-1950s, are especially sought after because Weiss used the effect with more restraint and better craftsmanship than the brands that copied it afterward. Look for the name Weiss stamped in script on the back. The loud, blinding sparkle that makes people assume this is cheap holiday costume jewelry is the exact same quality serious collectors are quietly paying good money for. Now, before we get into the top 6, there is something every vintage jewelry owner needs to hear. The biggest mistake people make is not throwing away something valuable. It is assuming an old piece has no value simply because it looks ordinary or unfashionable. Every single week, genuine collector pieces end up in donation bins and dollar tables because the person selling them never learned the specific markings, hallmarks, and construction details that separate a forgettable piece from one worth real money. That is exactly why I put together the Jeweler's Dirty Secret, a straightforward guide that breaks down the maker's marks, the metal stamps, the stone quality indicators, and the valuation principles that professional appraisers actually use. Whether you are sorting through an inherited jewelry box or hunting through estate sales on the weekend, this guide will change the way you look at every single piece you come across. You can get it right now through the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on your screen. Now, back to the countdown. Number 6. Boucher. Marcel Boucher trained at Cartier in Paris before he ever opened his own workshop in New York, and you can feel that training the moment you turn one of his pieces over. This is a man who built costume jewelry the way a fine jeweler builds real jewelry, just working in gilt metal and crystal instead of platinum and diamonds. What collectors chase specifically are his figurals, enameled birds with wings spread mid-flight, mechanical pins where tiny arms and legs actually move, bold cabochon flowers that look like they escaped from a far more expensive display case. A Boucher pin set with emerald-cut crystals brought $225 at a recent auction, and the rare enameled figural pieces climb considerably higher than that. Look for the word Boucher, or the initials MB, usually sitting beside a 3 or 4-digit design number stamped into the metal. His plain gold tone florals are not the pieces changing anybody's month financially, so do not get excited over every signed piece you find. It is specifically the detailed storytelling figurals that carry real money, and once you have held a good one, you will never confuse it with the ordinary stuff again. Number 5. Hattie Carnegie. Here is a woman who never personally designed a single piece of jewelry and still built one of the most collected names in the entire industry. Hattie Carnegie came to New York from Austria with almost nothing, built a fashion empire from scratch, and put her name on figural pins that collectors tracked down decades later with genuine obsession. The pieces that matter are her animals and her florals, set with genuine crystal and finished with a level of care nobody expects from a name most people associate with dresses rather than jewelry. A 1960s lion bracelet and earring set sold for just under $2,400. A 3-piece sea life set brought over $2,000. Here's where people get tripped up though, and you need to know this before you go digging through a box. Her mark changes from piece to piece. Sometimes it reads Carnegie in full, sometimes it is just her initials. And sometimes, charmingly, it simply says, Miss Hattie. That inconsistency is exactly why so many of her brooches slip through estate sales completely unrecognized, sorted into the dollar bin by someone who never bothered to look the name up first. The plain gold tone pieces will not make you rich. The interesting figurals absolutely can. Number 4. Schiaparelli. Elsa Schiaparelli was a true couture designer, a rival of Coco Chanel, an artist who collaborated with Salvador Dali, and her costume jewelry carries every bit of that wild, surreal imagination. Her brooches are loud on purpose, big, dramatic, full of unusual stone choices, including the famous watermelon rhinestones that shift between pink and green depending on the light, and swirling aurora borealis crystals that throw genuine rainbow fire across a room. Vintage Schiaparelli pieces sell reliably in the high hundreds, and her most surrealist designs command real premiums among the collectors who understand exactly what they are looking at. Here is the human detail worth remembering. A genuine Schiaparelli brooch looks, to the untrained eye, too big and too gaudy to possibly be real. People assume something that flashy has to be cheap costume junk, so they sell it for next to nothing, never imagining that the boldness is the entire point of the piece. The signature script on the back is your proof. Find that name on an oversized, almost theatrical pin, and you are not holding junk. You are holding a piece of fashion history that got mistaken for a garage sale filler item. Number 3. Miriam Haskell. Some jewelry is manufactured. Miriam Haskell's jewelry was made, one bead at a time, by skilled artisans in her New York workshop using Russian gilt filigree and faux Baroque pearls, with a level of patience that genuinely does not exist in production jewelry anymore. You can feel it the second you pick a piece up. There is a softness, a layered organic quality, like the piece grew rather than got assembled on a line. Lucille Ball wore Haskell. Joan Crawford wore Haskell, a modest brass and faux pearl brooch sold for $250 in 2024, and full matching sets have reached $2,400. Here is the catch. And it genuinely cuts both ways. A great deal of early Haskell was never signed at all, which means countless pieces are sitting completely unrecognized in jewelry boxes across the country right now. That is the opportunity, hiding in plain sight. But it also means you cannot always rely on a mark to tell you what you are holding. You have to learn the hand wiring itself, the almost lace-like construction along the back of the piece. Learn that texture once, and you will recognize it forever, signed or not. Number 2. Eisenberg. During World War II, metal was rationed across the entire country, and that single wartime fact accidentally created some of the most valuable costume jewelry America has ever produced. When base metals grew scarce, Eisenberg switched to genuine sterling silver and set it with enormous hand-placed Austrian crystals, and the result looks so much like real diamond jewelry that people genuinely do a double take the first time they see one in person. These pieces have heft, they have presence. They sparkle with a fire that cheaper rhinestone jewelry from the same era never comes close to matching. A single Eisenberg dress clip sold for $500, and their rhinestone clips routinely bring between $140 and $375, depending on condition and design. But you have to know which era of Eisenberg you are holding, because this is exactly where the real value separates from the merely nice-looking. The early pieces marked Eisenberg Original or Eisenberg Sterling are the true wartime treasures, the pieces serious collectors actively hunt through estate sales for. The later line, marked simply Eisenberg Ice, is far more common and worth considerably less, even though it carries the same family name. Flip it over, find the exact wording of the mark, and feel the weight in your palm. Heft plus that sterling stamp is exactly what you are hunting for. Number 1. Trifari, and specifically, the crown. If your family shopped at any American department store between the 1940s and the 1960s, there is a genuine chance Trifari came home in a gift box at some point, and that ordinary, unremarkable history is exactly why so many valuable pieces are still sitting forgotten in dresser drawers right now. Here's what changes everything about this particular brand. Trifari's chief designer, Alfred Philippe, trained making fine jewelry in the style of the great European houses before he ever touched costume work, and he insisted on hand-set stones and construction methods normally reserved for real diamonds, not mass-market rhinestones. Serious collectors treat certain Trifari pieces as fine jewelry that simply happens to carry a costume price tag by accident of history. Let me give you honest numbers because I refuse to inflate this the way some channels do. Most ordinary Trifari pairs and brooches will bring you $20 to $60, and plenty of people online will not tell you that part. But signed collectible pieces, especially the florals and figurals from Philippe's golden era, climb into the $200 to $800 range, and the ceiling on this brand is genuinely startling. Philippe designed a line in the 1940s called the Jelly Belly, animals and insects built around a clear lucite center meant to glow like a belly, usually crafted in sterling silver. And here is the fact that should make you go check your own jewelry box tonight. A signed Jelly Belly can be worth real money, while the exact same design unsigned is worth almost nothing at all. The signature is everything with this brand. What you are looking for is a small crown sitting directly above the letter T on the back of the piece. And on later examples, you will also find a small copyright symbol added beside it. That tiny crown sitting quietly on the back of a piece everyone assumes is ordinary department store costume jewelry is the entire difference between a few dollars and a genuine small fortune slipping through your fingers without anyone ever noticing. So here's what I actually want you to do tonight, and I mean actually do it. Go find that box, the one shoved in the back of a closet that belonged to your mother or your grandmother, the one everyone in the family already agreed was not worth looking through. Turn every single piece over. Read every mark. Because the difference between a donation bag and a genuine payday almost never comes down to the piece itself. It comes down to whether anyone ever bothered to check the back. Hit the like button if even one of these names surprised you today. Subscribe, because we go this deep on every single video we make. And drop a comment telling me which brand on this list you are going straight to your jewelry box to check for tonight. I read every single one of them. I promise you that. And whatever you do, no matter who is sitting across the table from you, do not sell before you check.